Looking to trade your old bulk for some of the latest Pokemon booster boxes? Well, check ccgcastle.com. The process is very simple. Send in 1400 cards and get a brand new sealed booster box back. We ship boxes worldwide for free once we get your cards. Make sure to check video description or check ccgcastle.com for more informations. Hey Pokefans, once again welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. Another day, another video. In today's video I decided to build something to be competitive and basically for the next upcoming standard format. So yeah, I'm very excited about this Greninja break post-rotation deck list because it's just gorgeous. I'm not sure how even to describe that. So with a Guzma around, you can basically switch one of your opponent benched Pokemon to his active Pokemon, and then you can do the same thing for your active Pokemon. Why Guzma is so broken and better for the post-rotation Greninja deck instead of the Lysander? Well, obviously for the one reason. And I'm gonna explain you right now that reason. So we have 4 Greninjas with the free retreat. Let's say we have 3 Greninja breaks in play. The first Greninja break is in our active position, and we just toss one John Water Shuriken, and we decided to retreat to another Greninja break, and we can toss another John Water Shuriken. After that, if we have Guzma available in our hand, we can again play Guzma, Lysander one of our opponent Pokemons on the bench, play third John Water Shuriken, and still be able to attack with the Moonlight Slash. Of course, we're gonna need so many energies. That's like 4 energies in one turn. Well, there's no problem. We have Starmie with the Space Beacon, and we can simply recover those energies from discard pile by discarding one card from our hand. And that's it. That just works perfectly. I tested it a lot, and I must admit that this is just insane. Once you manage to set up Starmie with Octillery and Greninja break, there's no chance that you can actually lose the game anyway. So I'm also running 1 copy of Octillery with a Beazle hand, mainly because with Octillery we can draw cards that we have 5 in our hands. So in the late game, if our opponent managed to end us down to like 1 or 2 cards, well, if we have Octillery in play, we don't need to worry about that end, because we can simply draw cards that we have 5. Overall, I'm running 21 Pokemon cards, 13 trainer cards, and 9 energies. Standard skeleton list for the Greninja: 4 Froakies, 4 Frogadiers, 4 Greninjas, and 3 Greninja breaks. So that's what you need to have. They're all from the breakpoint. Froakie with the bubble, of course, Frogadier with the water duplicates, Greninja with the Shadow Snitching and Moonlight Slash, and of course Greninja break as break. Also, very interesting thing about that Greninja is that you can also play Shadow Snitching, shut down your opponent's chances to use abilities. You can Moonlight Slash for 60, 80, or 110 with the choice band to those GX or EX Pokemons, which is just insane. So even if your opponent have abilities, or if he wants to use abilities, and if your opponent deck relies on your abilities, you can just simply shut them out with the Shadow Snitching. One line of the Remoraid and Octillery, I mentioned it earlier, and of course 2 Starviews with the free retreat and 2 Starmies. The biggest concern, of course, for us is going to be start with the Remoraid, because the only Pokemon that has 1 retreat cost, but I can see definitely maybe in the future some kind of the Remoraid with a free retreat. That would be amazing. Item cards, 30 trainer cards in total. There's half item cards, half supporter cards, and just a few tool cards. So let's just explain all those item cards. First of all, I'm running 2 Field Blowers, which is a very important card, mainly against Garbodor matchups. With the Garbotoxin, we're not going to be able to use John Water Shuriken, so Field Blower is very important. Against any other deck, Field Blower can be very useful because we can just discard our opponent Float Stones. We can discard, for example, Fighting Fury Belts, Stadium cards from play, and that's very, very important. In addition to that, I also decided to make this deck a little bit more tanky with 2 copies of Max Potion. So basically with the Max Potion around, we can have like 160 damage counters on Greninja break. We can just play Max Potion and heal completely that Greninja for free. That's just insane. Moving on to the other cards, I'm running 2 copies of Rare Candy, mainly because with the Rare Candy we can go from Froakie to the Greninja. 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher, so I can basically put a Pokemon from my discard pile back to my hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemons from discard pile back to my deck. Rescue Stretcher is a very nice card, mainly because if we find ourselves in a position where Octillery is maybe discarded in our discard pile, and we also have, for example, Starmie. We can simply choose between those two with the Rescue Stretcher and bring them back into play easily. So I like the Rescue Stretcher, as well as 2 copies of Timer Balls. Very new card in this deck. Flip 2 coins. For each head, search your deck for evolution Pokemon or reveal and put into your hand. And I kind of like that, mainly because it will help us a lot to accelerate our lines, because there are 3 different Pokemon that can evolve. The first one, of course, obvious, is Greninja. The second one is Octillery, and the third one is a Starmie. In addition to 2 Timer Balls, I'm running 4 Ultra Balls. So discarding 2 cards from hand can actually help a lot to search deck for any kind of the Pokemon. More than that, the most important thing here is that Brooklet Hill. So Brooklet Hill, basically in this deck, it's going to be something like a level ball. Once per turn, we can just use Brooklet Hill and search a deck for a basic water Pokemon and put him on the bench. So theoretically, you can grab Froakie, Remoraid, or Staryu and set him down to the bench. That's just insane, in my opinion. That's just sweet. Plus, you can also counter your opponent's stadium, and you don't need to worry about stadium wars, because you have 4 stadiums in this build, and that's going to be more than enough. And of course, the last 2 item cards in this deck are Choice Bands, which will help us to increase damage for 30. I was also thinking about body building dumbbells, or whatever the card is named, which can increase 40 damage counters to our stage evolution Pokemons, but I'm not sure if that's going to work with Greninja Break, so I actually decided not to use that. So I just decided to go with the Choice Band for the max damage output. Overall, in addition to that, I'm running 2 copies of Guzmas. The best card for this deck, definitely, because you can just use John Water Shurikens 3 times, plus you can also license your opponent Pokemon. In addition to that, 8 drop supporters. We don't need more than 8 because we have Octillery, 4 Ants, and 4 Professor Sycamores, and of course 9 energies. 3 of them are going to be splash energies, and 6 of them are going to be regular basic energy cards. Also, a very good thing about splash energy is, as long as the splash energy is attacked to our Pokemon, that it's knocked out from opponent attack. So don't forget that if the Pokemon is affected by poison, for example, you're not going to be able to put him back to your hand or recover him, whatever you want to call it. So only when the Pokemon is knocked out by opponent attack, we can just simply bring that Pokemon and all previously evolutions to our hand, and of course discard splash energy to our discard pile. Overall, I really like the deck list, and I kind of enjoy always playing the Greninja Break deck, so I highly recommend to test this deck because it's just worked perfectly. If you're looking for any of these cards, make sure to check ccgcastle.com. TCG Center 5 code will provide you with 5% discount on your purchase. If you may be located to Europe, and you don't want to buy cards from the outside of the Europe, make sure to check also Total Cards. You can find a link in my video description. With the TCG Center, you can get also discount on your purchase. So yeah, in my opinion, both sides are perfectly great, but I highly recommend ccgcastle.com. So let's do some game tests so you can actually see this deck in action. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos, and also let me know in the comments below what you think about this deck. So see you in the game. Alright, so looks like I'm gonna start with 1 copy of a Remoraid here. Not the best, not the worst opening hand I could get, that's for sure. Oh, Volcanion on the other side. Okay, I guess that should be an easy game for me, but I'm not gonna underrate my opponent, because every time I do that, I actually lost the game. So, Nest Ball for the baby Volcanion. 1 Scorched Earth for extra 2 cards with that Fire Energy discardment from his hand. A Trainer's Mail. Alright. Failed to search. Energy attachment. Looking at my opening hand right now, what I can do here is I can play my Brooklet Hill, grab myself 1 Froakie and put him on the bench. I can attach Splash Energy to that Froakie, then I can Ultra Ball for something like Frogadier and Greninja Break. I can be very brave here, but that might cost me a lot. Into another Froakie. and just keep my RAM right here, because I have that timer ball, and theoretically I can hit 2 heads on the coin flip and I can grab Frogadier and Octillery. But of course I'm not gonna go with Octillery because Octillery have 2 retreat cost, and I'm not gonna be able to retreat that Octillery forever. On the other side, even if he can retreat and discard 2 energies from his hand in order to max out my Remoraid, it's better to max out my Remoraid than my Froakie. That's obvious. So that's the reason why I decided to keep that splash energy for my Froakie. There is also 1 Turtonator. But I just might get lucky and I might just avoid turn 1 knockout. However, 1 fire energy attached to Volcanion, and there's another Nest Ball. Probably for another baby Volcanion, as expected. And my turn. Okay, so I did that. I managed to survive. So why not to grab something like Staryu here and splash that timer ball? Yeah, interesting. 2 tails on the coin flip. Alright, Rescue Stretcher, put a Pokemon from your discard pile back to your hand. Guess what? I'm going to retreat down to my Frogadier. Is it worth to toss my Ultra Ball here? Yes, it is. I guess I don't need Max Potion. So, Octillery, maybe for that Greninja, so I can have my Greninja going on with the rare candy. Okay, nice. So I can water duplicate for 2 more Frogadiers, and I'm more than happy. Next turn I can simply play N, or I can Abyssal Hand. Even if my opponent can knock out my Frogadier, it's not a big deal, mainly because it will go down to my hand. So for him, the biggest concern right now is how to retreat that Volcanion and basically start applying pressure to me. There is a Choice Band, completely useless card against Greninja. So he decided to play that N. Yeah, definitely he needs to find a way to escape from the active position with that Volcanion, so he's definitely searching desperately for something like a Float Stone. Without a Float Stone, I can say only one thing, and that Volcanion will probably just be knocked out next turn. Maybe not. So, Field Blower to tin a little bit more cards from my hand. It's definitely time to retreat. That's for sure. I can toss 1 John Water Shrieking, which I'm definitely going to do. And after that, I'm gonna play my Field Blower once again. And then I'm gonna try to find energy with the Abyssal Hand or maybe Starmie. Well, there is energy. And I can still going with the N. Nice. Another Greninja break. There is also Starmie. And I managed to set up pretty well. I'm not gonna complain. So, theoretically, this turn I can knock out my opponent Volcanion EX. Next turn I can probably take 4 prize cards. We'll see if that's gonna happen. So, Moonlight Slash, and I'm gonna return energy back to my hand. So that's 220. I personally think that Volcanion will be a good deck after the rotation, but I don't think how Volcanion will have and stand any chance against a deck like Greninja Break. That's just obvious. So, Baby Volcanion promoted in the front. Something like a Guzma as a top deck is probably the best top deck I can get. Yeah, I think it is. So 1 steam up, 2 steam ups. Even if he can toss 3 steam ups, that can be like 110 in total. Well, 1 power heater for 80. Let's see. Can we find that Guzma? We shall see. Okay, another rare candy. I guess I don't need rare candy. John Water Shuriken. Tossing some Shurikens. I guess I can evolve. And I guess I can first the Bezel Hand in hope to find Guzma. Well, looks like there is no sign of the Guzma for the victory this turn. Discarding out Brooklet Hill, grabbing 2 more water energies, retreating. Actually, it's still possible to take Guzma. John Water Shuriken. And right now, if I can pull Guzma from my prize cards, I can actually take 2 more prize cards. Oh, no way! No way. Okay, there's a Guzma. And yeah, I can basically Moonlight Slash for like 180, and that's it. That's the knockout. So 4 prize cards in just a single turn. Greninja Break, obviously very, very dangerous and powerful deck for the post rotation, especially with the Guzma around, because you can just spread so many John Water Shurikens. I mean, I was able to spread like 3 John Water Shuriken in 1 turn with the Guzma. That's 180 damage counters, and I can still go for like 80 or 110 with the Choice Band. That's just huge amount of damage counters, and that's the GG. Once again, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more future videos. Let me know also in the comments below what you think about this Greninja Break deck for the post rotation. Of course, there's gonna be a counter decks for the Greninja. Golisopod is one of the best counters for the Greninja because it's a grass type and it can hit for 1 energy for the 180 and easily go for the 1-hit knockout against Greninja. But mainly all other decks will have hard time trying to beat that Greninja Break deck. So once again guys, thanks for watching, have a nice day, see you in the next video, till the next time, goodbye.